Fit for Life Radio. Back this week, your hosts, Gary and Will.
What up?
Larry and Bill.
Hey, that was like 10 times funnier than it had any business being, and I don't know why.
Like the generic version. The knockoff of a crappy... Like Gary and Will's nothing special, but...
And then that extra vanilla Larry and Bill.
They're doing a podcast.
Okay.
Hey, fit for a couple weeks.
Just
radio.
Just kind of fit.
Kind of Fit for Life podcast with Larry and Bill. Larry and Bill. That sounds like some NASCAR names.
It does.
I think I'm thinking of like Larry Bird and Bill.
Who's
Wild Bill? What Bill? What was his name?
Bill Elliott?
Bill Elliott.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's it. He drove the Budweiser car. That was my dad's favorite driver.
Oh God,
man!
All
all you NASCAR fans out there are probably
you're probably just
turning your volume up. We just lost all the listeners.
That's as much as we probably know about NASCAR.
8 out of 10 just forward it to the next podcast.
They're out. They're like, nah, this one's not for me. Not today, baby.
All right, today actually you'll want to stay tuned in because we are going to talk about sleep.
Yeah, I know we talked about last week. We answered a couple questions and we had to dig deeper.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go farther.
So kind of prioritizing your sleep, what to do, how to do it. Everyone has to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. You can't hack sleep. I know, like, biohacking's a big thing. Like, you can't fake it. You can't put a Band-Aid on it. Like,
you have to have it. It's like water.
Yeah, you need it.
You can't live without it.
Can't.
Your body's going to shut down if you don't.
Sleep is for the weak. Or you can sleep when you're dead. That's my least favorite saying. Who doesn't like to sleep? Dude, I love it.
I guess you can convince yourself that you're like super... the entrepreneurial
You're on the grind, bro.
World, the grind, like sleep. But now that's almost kind of flipped, right?
I'm glad.
People celebrate taking time to restore and rest so that you'll be better.
Yep.
And when you really get into the science of sleep and how your brain performs and your energy and your mood. So brain, energy, mood, it's substantially better.
Yeah.
And more efficient.
So why wouldn't you want to do that and then maximize your day with that?
And that's how you actually store memories and things you learn.
And learn things.
To be able to recall them is through quality
sleep.
Sleep, getting into REM sleep, deep sleep.
Quality and like a decent quantity as well.
And I think, so we'll start with people... Yeah, what's been the standard thing for a while? Oh, I can't sleep. I'm going to take melatonin or some kind of like NyQuil or drinks or alcohol. Which these things will all maybe make you sleepy.
They knock you out too. Think about it like they might make you unconscious, but it doesn't mean you're sleeping very well.
Yeah, and actually
that's the tricky part.
Like alcohol prevents you from even getting in REM sleep.
Yeah, you won't get there with alcohol. So you might actually fall asleep easily, but you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not getting any quality sleep. So you're going to wake up and not be rested anyways. So
to start,
let's start with
eliminate those things.
How much sleep do we need? 7. We'll say at least 7 hours is a good goal for most people. 7 to 9 is like the gold standard probably. Everyone's a little bit different too in terms of what they require, but for majority of the population, that would be a good goal to shoot for.
And again, if you're someone who... Man, you really want 8, but you just can't. Well, just go 6, right?
Yeah.
Getting 6 quality hours of sleep is better than being on drugs and getting low quality and not even 6, right? So again, do what you can. Progress, not perfection.
Yep.
But in general, we're going to say 7 to 8 hours. You have to give yourself a chance.
You got to set yourself up for it.
So from the start, you need to ask yourself, what time do I need to wake up?
Straight up.
Because right from there, if you have to be up at 6 a.m. and you're getting to bed at 1 a.m., you're
giving yourself 5 hours at best.
Right. So there's that.
Yeah. Start there and work backwards. Right.
Then the next question is going to be, what time do I need to get into bed? And of course, we know sometimes getting into bed doesn't mean you're sleeping. You could lay there for 2 hours, which we're going to address. But you at least got to give yourself that window, right? So say, you have to be up at 6. Ideally, you want to maybe give yourself an 8-hour chance, 8-hour window. So you need to be in bed at 10.
Yeah. So then you have, at best 8 hours of sleep, and then, maybe a little bit less if it takes you a little bit of time to fall asleep. But you're giving yourself a chance to be in that window.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to kind of ask yourself, what do I need to do to make this a reality? And if it's that you're just up watching TV, surfing the internet, well, put those things away by 7, right, or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you need to be in bed at 8, you want to put them away a little earlier. If it's maybe you've carved out that time to actually where you're maybe doing something for work that's kind of important, then you may need to look at shifting your work stuff around. Maybe you can free up time during the day to do that. Obviously, if maybe you have a infant child or something like that.
Yeah, it changes things.
A puppy, you're going to have to be waking up. That's different. So we'll kind of, leave that to the side. But in general, what time do you need to be up? What time do you need to go to bed? And how can you make those things a reality? So you got to figure those out. So giving yourself that.
That's step schedule. 1. Do some math.
The other thing is you want to be consistent. So as we get into the breakdown of sleep, a consistent sleep schedule is key. If you're
it really is
waking up at 6 during the weekday and you sleep in until 10 both weekend days, that's going to cause problems.
It's going to mess your schedule up. Because then when you go go to sleep and wake up on, for Monday, you're just not going to be in a good spot.
Because the reason why is there's your circadian rhythm.
Which we've touched on.
Yep. So that's like your 24-hour cycle. And this is really what, now when we dig into what it takes to get good sleep, to fall asleep, to stay asleep, it's so much more than the hour before you go to bed.
It's the whole day.
And those nighttime things, it starts
when you wake up.
When you wake up. So you want to think of it more like a 24-hour cycle. And the things you do in the morning is going to affect your sleep. Mm-hmm. Right? So waking up at the same time, set your clock. Ideally, then from there, and what we're rapidly learning more about is the importance of light. Mm-hmm. Now, and then let's take a step further, sunlight. A lot of people think, the sun, it's good for vitamin D, but it's really so much more, right? You need sunlight into your eyeballs. This sets your circadian rhythm.
Yeah, it essentially sets your clock for the day. It's like an indicator to your brain that, this is the beginning of our day. Mm-hmm. And if it never gets that, then you're going to have a hard time with, setting, all of your processes later on because your clock was never set. Mm-hmm. So if you go from dark to dark to dark, in the morning you're in the dark, during the day you're in, a building with okay lighting, and then you go from there driving your car and come home when it's dark, you never ever set your clock, and you're going to have a hard time knowing when it's time to actually go to sleep, or your body will have a hard time knowing when it's time to sleep and to start powering things down.
And you may be thinking, when I get up, I'll just turn on a bunch of lights. Well, there's a thing, you can get an app, it's called Lux, Lux. There's apps. Lux is like the wattage or power.
It's like the intensity of your light.
Intensity of light. And you can have this bright indoor artificial lighting and think, boom. But the reality is it's nowhere near as bright as what you need and that you get from outside light.
The sun is so much brighter in terms of, if you talk about Lux.
Yeah, and you can download this app and see for yourself. You can be inside with all your lights on and it's going to be reading like 400 lux, right? Then you can step outside on, we'll say, an overcast, cloudy day. You don't even see the sunlight, and it's going to be 10 or jump up to like 2,000 to 5,000. Then if it's a sunny day, it's going to be upwards of like 20,000, right? So even on a cloudy, overcast day, you're going to get just an amount
probably
of
5 to 10 times more,
and eventually in an amount that's going to get that signal to your brain. And the other thing that's key is, don't wear sunglasses for this. Yeah, if you're outside at the beach all day or driving and there's glare, those where that's really
that's fine.
Where sunglasses can be helpful. But yeah, just to be outside, especially at times that aren't like peak sunlight, midday times.
Give your eyes a chance
in the mornings and evenings. Yeah, give your eyes a chance. Again, if you wear the sunglasses, it's going to block some of those UV rays that are important.
Yeah, that's our signal. That's one thing I've done it for a while, but I usually only wear sunglasses when I'm driving and I know like the sun's just going to be in a really terrible spot. Like for us leaving our house, there's some days where it's impossible to even see. And like that, bro, I got to wear sunglasses, right? But I'll take them off. Like today, once I got on the interstate, took them off, opened my window. The sun was just coming in the driver's side window, and it was perfect. But and then again, when we're at the beach, I'm gonna wear my sunglasses so I'm not blind.
Yep.
But overall, like if I'm just walking the dog, just take your, you don't need sunglasses, and it's a good opportunity for you to get 10, 20 minutes of sun in your eyes when you maybe otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, and little things like that to make it fit. For example, we were coming to record this podcast this morning, and I was coming down Warwick Boulevard, and the sun's on the left, so I rolled down the window. Side note, glass blocks this stuff too. So
notice your tinted glass will block it as well.
And regular glass too. So, or you need to spend like an insane amount of time. But roll down the window, boom, then it's 10-minute drive. I get the 10 minutes I need of sunlight, and so for time, obviously, like more is better.
Yeah.
If it is super cloudy, you kind of need a little more. But on a bright day, if you just get 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're good to go. But in general, if you think just 15 minutes, you can be outside for 15 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning. You're going to be good to go, right? And what this does is so our body makes melatonin itself, like the way
you don't have to take it in a pill.
It's the sleep hormone, and naturally as like the sun goes down and gets darker, we start producing melatonin to help us fall asleep. Well, the sunlight in the morning into your eyeballs kind of starts that process and makes our body be able to produce melatonin on its own when the evening rolls around.
And it just helps to know when to produce it as well. Like and that's important too. If your body doesn't know when to make it, then you're not going to be on a schedule.
Yeah, and you'll notice. You'll start getting out, getting that sunlight, and then you'll notice how in the evening, night, you just start falling asleep hard, like maybe watching TV or something like that. And
it's a big difference maker.
It's legit.
I mean, if you think, and I know I notice this all the time. If you spend a day at the beach or out on the on a boat or whatever, that sleep that you get that night, or even the nap you get when you get home, dude, it's crucial. Like it's like some of the best sleep that you'll get. And some people might attribute that to, you're just out and you're busy and you're, more active or whatever. But the reality is, like, the sun really will put you down at night if you actually get the right amount of it. So, next time you're in the sun a lot, just take note of, how do I actually sleep after, 4 hours at the beach on a Saturday?
Yep. So start, ditching the supplements, sleepy teas, all these things, and realize you have to create these cycles and these signals to your body. Like, bam, you're awake. Bam, get that light into your eyes. Boom, it's like a hard line in the sand of like, it's daytime now.
Yeah.
Same thing. At night, you want to avoid a ton of bright light. And this is where it's super unfortunate. Like we talked about how the artificial indoor light, blue light and stuff from your phones, it's not strong enough to like really signal
this daylight.
But it's strong enough to prevent the melatonin release and the nighttime.
That like
signals.
shutdown process, so to speak.
So ideally you want to, which is easy now, just get like the blue light blocking apps on your phone if you're staring at your phone at night.
Those are easy. Flux or Twilight or
on your laptop.
Yeah, those are easy now.
And another thing too that I've noticed is, so TV, I actually have no problem with TV, like the light or whatever, but what you're watching.
Yeah.
So if it's something stimulating, thought-provoking,
or stressful,
I notice those are the nights where I'm like, boom, bedtime comes around 9 p.m.
and I'm even tired.
I'm there. I'm alert. Whereas if it's just kind of like almost like white noise, and so something you have to think much. Maybe you're just laughing, and it's real easy, not too thought provoking. Maybe even like old shows you've seen a bunch, like just
that's what we do. Put on
those
The Office,
are the times where
and
I'm
it's kind
falling
of
asleep.
relaxing.
Yeah, like 8:30 on the couch. You know, so that's something to keep in mind too. Is maybe avoiding some of the more.
And you know what? You may even like watch an episode of your stimulating show, early on in the night, and then switch to something easier. And that, is it perfect? No, but it might be a better option than continuing to watch Dexter all night or whatever's stressing you out. You can make that switch and then start to power down a little bit instead of riding that stress wave.
Then another part, we'll back up to earlier in the day of this cycle, is this is where like a huge benefit of exercise comes in. We're made to move and to exert that energy, and that plays a role in being able to sleep better at night. So most people notice when they start exercising that it helps them sleep and sleep better and deeper. So that's another thing. Make sure, and this is where two birds, one stone, at least try to get a walk in every day. Hey, you can take the walk early in the morning when the sun's coming up, 20, 30 minutes. Now you're getting your walk and you're outside, setting the circadian rhythm with the sunlight.
And getting some activity for your day.
And getting some activity. So that's personally what I do. Bare minimum, worst case, I get that walk in. So there's my exercise. There's setting my circadian rhythm. I tell myself 10 minutes. And normally I get going and I end up typically doing like 20, 30. Sometimes a little longer, 45.
Give yourself a minimum.
But if you keep it the minimum easy so that you're more likely to do it. Because if you're like, I'm going to do a 40-minute walk, you can find a lot of reasons maybe that other things are going to get in the way and you don't do that. But if you just tell yourself, I just need to set a clock for 5 minutes, you walk for 5 minutes, and then obviously you have to walk back. So it's going to be a 10-minute walk. But even if your brain, you're just like, I just got to go for 5 minutes. Setting this, however far I get, 5 minutes, turn around, come back. That's a simple.
And then you leave yourself more room to get more and you'll be okay. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So good sleep starts when you wake up.
With some sun.
With some sunlight. With that, so now we've established you're waking at a consistent time. You're getting enough light, and
you're active.
There are, if you just maybe have to wake up real early and you're not even seeing the sunlight for a couple hours, or you just can't get outside, they do have like special lamps,
Lux lamps,
kind of do emit a high enough, amount. Yeah. They're not cheap.
And it's not the same as the sun,
but it's good, the same. But that is an option or maybe if you work night shift and you're trying to like create these patterns.
It's still better than nothing, so it's a good option if you consistently find yourself there.
The other thing with the walk is the movement kind of starts the waking process. So, and Andrew Huberman, is it Andrew?
Yeah.
He's
He's an eye and brain
researcher, professor at Stanford, and he really breaks down like the
real dope podcast,
system, all that really great. He has a podcast, but he talks about how when we're walking, and things in our peripheral pass us, and there's like movement like that. That kind of starts,
and it's good for you to have that.
Yeah, it's good for your eyeballs. Starts like that mental alertness and waking process. So that's where really you can. So now we can tie that morning walk into 3 things, right? You get the sunlight, you get the exercise, so your heart rate elevating a little and all the benefits of that, and you're going to get that eye movement, motion type deal going on.
Yeah, that wakes you up in a more, we'll say, natural way instead of something insanely stressful or some loud music. You're getting something that's supposed to happen that wakes us up.
Yep. So movement, light, that's how you want to ideally start your day.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
Exercise, we went over. So regular exercise, again, it's going to normalize your clock. So it's kind of another strong signal to send to your body.
That we're awake.
And optimizes your hormone levels. One catch of that, and we talked about it in last week's podcast,
is the time that you work out.
Is the time and intensity. So if you have very intense exercise later in the evening, it may make it hard to fall asleep.
Yeah. Just because you're ramped up and
exactly,
it's harder for some people, we talked about, to come down from compared to others.
But those things right there, so movement, sunlight, that rapid eye movement, exercise are going to be very strong signals to your body that are really going to help with being able to fall asleep later in the day.
And notice, like, all of those things, I know a lot of time when sleep hygiene is mentioned, we think about the things we do right before bed, but all of those things are what you do literally when you wake up, and I think they have...
And ideally in the first half of the day.
Yeah, first half of your day, and that has probably the biggest impact on your sleep when you compare it to just not that it's not important before you go to bed, but you're setting yourself up early in the day to even be able to have a chance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't neglect that part of your day and just, last minute be like, oh, crap, I got to go to sleep. Pop 3 melatonin and go to bed.
So now, let's say, kind of the second half of the day, some things you can do that are helpful are you want to be mindful of alcohol and caffeine.
Yeah, and just be honest with yourself. For us, we couldn't have a cup of coffee at 2 p.m. There's no way. We'd be awake all night.
And that's really the cutoff for most people.
Yeah.
Even if you tolerate well, after 2 p.m., there's going to be,
there's going to be
caffeine
something.
Has a half-life. It's still in your body.
Exactly.
It's going to, and again, it may not be a thing you notice or have trouble falling asleep, but it's going to affect
the quality
of sleep. Same thing with alcohol. And really, you almost want to give yourself 4 hours for alcohol. So if you go to bed at 9, if you are going to have a drink or two, it's better to have it by 5. So alcohol, caffeine, where are those at? Be mindful of those. Clearing your mind. So this is probably a lot of the stuff you've already heard, which is helpful. But again, without that earlier stuff, this
is all minutia.
It can be fleeting. So clearing your mind, maybe a little journal, help with relaxation, make a to-do list. Get those things off your mind. Turn off electronics because they're emitting the blue light, and they also are going to stimulate your mind,
your brain.
So find ways to de-stress, reading, meditation, gentle movement, going for a light walk, stretching, yoga. So super low intensity forms of movement. Another one that's pretty good is, and I've experimented with, so take a warm bath or shower.
I'm not allowed to take baths anymore.
Don't flood your house.
Don't flood the bottom floor of your house with a leaky bathtub. That's a sore subject. Whitney's going to listen to this. It's going to set her off. It's okay.
We'll move on.
Yeah, we
won't linger. So with the warm shower, what it does, it seems counterintuitive, but you take a warm shower, your body gets warmer. Well, your body itself always kind of wants this homeostasis, so it's naturally going to try to cool you off. So now all of a sudden your body starts kind of trying to lower
a nice rebound effect
your body temperature
when you get out.
Then when you're getting to sleep, that's what you want. You want to be cool, which then gets to keeping your room cool. The appropriate temperature.
An ice box.
Yep, around 67 degrees is what science says is ideal. And personally, cool. It's hard.
Dude, cooler the better.
And Huberman talked about this. Which I thought was interesting. So why you want it to be cooler in your room? So in theory,
I just know the pillow feels better.
Other side of the pillow. Keep flipping it. You subconsciously can't say. it's cold and you're under covers, you can subconsciously, you'll remove a body part. Like, you know how you'll stick your leg out? No, this is legit.
Remove a body.
Remove a body.
Just
Yeah,
pop that arm off.
You take your arm or leg, stick it out from under the covers, which then
cools you off
a little. And you're able to do that while staying asleep subconsciously. Well, if the room is really hot,
you can't.
That's not going to cool you off enough. So you'll do that and not be cool enough where your body's trying to fight it.
So it's easier for you to regulate in the cold.
Yeah. And when it's hotter, you're just more likely to wake up to find a solution, right?
Yep. Interesting.
So the cooler room kind of gives you more layers to stay asleep and cool off if needed. Or if you do get
warm, you can warm. Yeah. That's interesting. I love a cold room, man. Go ahead.
And then a really important one is make the room as dark as possible. So again, you're trying to say you don't want light is always going to be
mind your lights.
Lean towards signaling daytime and things like that.
So yeah, and some things you might have to work hard to do. Like we have a little humidifier in our room that has the brightest green light of all time on it. And I legit put tape over it so that doesn't, keep us up at night. They actually sell little dots that are specifically for covering up like little LEDs on, an alarm clock or, a humidifier or something like that. And you can get them in like different colors. So like if you have a black appliance or a white appliance, and it'll completely block that light out for when you sleep. And you can get them on Amazon. It's just like a pack of, matte stickers basically. But it's a good way to, if you still have to have things plugged in your room to, cancel that light out a little bit.
Yeah. And we recommend, or I think it's better to address these things because, look, I know a lot of the reason people struggle with sleep or they're up all night is stuff on their mind and stress, but that's kind of stuff we create in our own head. And you're going to give yourself the best chance of having good, consistent sleep by kind of doing these hormonal things first. Like, aside from the thoughts and all that, this stuff is how our body's wired, how it operates, and hormonally. You may find that when you get this stuff set, everything else kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, you might not have all of those like wandering thoughts or that anxiety or whatever it may be.
You're still going to need this stuff anyways because it's just the science of sleep and how the process works. So you're going to have to...
And there's no getting around it.
Yeah, if you want good quality, consistent sleep. So... yeah, really, again, that kind of stuff, if like you have super stressful job or you're worried and that's where you have to keep a journal. You have to de-stress. You have to maybe see
and that's stress
therapist.
Management.
You have to do stress management. So, everyone knows that. We'll almost treat that separate.
That's a whole different podcast. I think we've done that before, haven't we? Yeah, we've done stress management. But that's a different deal.
But in general, you want to stop thinking of sleep as like, oh, what can I do real quick in this hour before bed to fix this? And more as a full 24-hour cycle that starts when you wake up.
Yeah. So
if you can see your little timeline in your head, you have wake, then you want to get that light, that movement, that exercise. Those things are going to be super important, that outdoor light. Then from there, in the evening, avoid midday to evening, kind of cut off your caffeine, cut off your alcohol. So caffeine, typically, they say noon or like 2 p.m. Again, it's really going to depend on when you go to bed.
Again, and then know yourself too,
and your tolerance.
Yep.
Alcohol, 4 hours.
Regardless of how well you think you sleep after you drink, you just don't.
Again, that might be some people want to have a cocktail, drink before bed. Well, understand then that's a trade-off you're willing to make for, you're going to sacrifice quality of sleep for that. I would argue eventually the sleep will win out if you cut it out and experiment and get better sleep.
And you feel better.
Yeah. So there's that. And then, then the nighttime stuff. So, avoiding electronics and stimulating light and things. You could try a warm bath or shower before bed. Mm-hmm. Keep the room cold.
Yeah. And all those things are important, because that is your environment while you sleep and when you're getting ready for bed, but not as important as that, wake cycle, essentially. So, yeah. I mean, I notice my sleep's way better when I go for walks in the morning. And we're lucky, like we do have good freedom. I was talking to Whitney about it, and she, especially right now, she leaves in the dark to go to work. Mm-hmm. And so, because I was like, yeah, you need to get morning sun. And I realized, like, by the time she gets to work and is, like, in her building, like, the sun's barely up, Yeah. So for her, it's like, where do I find time to even be able to get in the sun? And it is a little more difficult for people like that, do have to be at work crazy early.
Yeah. And it goes to show, and she has a typical job, right?
Yeah.
Where you're working in an office building. So a lot of people can relate. And it's crazy because you see how much our day-to-day lives work against
our internal clock
or cues and everything. And why is everyone struggling with sleep and stress and all this? And it's a uphill battle,
mm-hmm.
And that's where, maybe getting a Lux box
might be beneficial.
Might be beneficial, and you do that for 10 or 15 minutes
while you're getting ready for work or something like that. Like that might be, a really good idea. So,
and those have other benefits, like they have the red light ones, which are also going to have skin benefits and things like that. So, there can be decent investments.
Absolutely.
Because again, this is something you're going to do daily. And when we talk about, hack, we'll make fun of that word, but I do think any quote unquote hack or thing, if it's real and legit, it's something that is done daily.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, you do this once and you're good. It doesn't work like that.
Ultimately, stuff that's effective is going to be like habitual and daily, and normally not seem that groundbreaking, right? But it's simple, getting light right in the morning. So that's where something like that could be worth it, and just trying to do your best.
Yeah.
Or if you can then get a little break at like 8, 9, or 10, if you can get some light in your eyeballs before noonish, 11,
then you're giving yourself a chance to still know, like, this is morning time and when the day starts.
But if you don't until like 2, 3 p.m., that's another thing. Then that's going to almost tell your brain that that's morning time.
And then you're going to have a very hard time falling asleep because like by the time nighttime rolls around, your brain's like, it hasn't been enough time.
Halfway through the wake cycle.
Yeah, to be time to go to sleep. So, if you find you struggle with sleep, check when the first time you see the sun is, and maybe you just adjust that and that alone, and that will probably help a lot. Mm-hmm. But again, it's something that we need to work on consistently. It has to be built into your routine, and we use the example, but it's because most people do it regularly, like brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth, and then you get the sun every day. It just has to be a part of what you do, and not just something you do sometimes.
Yeah. And again, if you can drive the windows down and maybe the sun's coming up, that can be helpful. But then I know too, there's things like, well, if you did your hair and makeup or you have like a shirt and tie on, it's like, you don't want to get dirty or messed up. So even then there's like societal things that have to be weighed against it. And that's where, it is easy to like lay this stuff out and be like, this is optimal and ideal.
But for a lot of people, they're just not in a situation for it to be ideal,
So that's where you just have to like,
do your best.
Do as good as you can. What can you do?
Again, progress over perfection. It might not be the most ideal, but using, say, a light box is way better than just not getting any light at all in the morning. Mm-hmm. So, be okay with that. If you're in that situation, just recognize what your life situation is and that you're doing your best, and that's fine.
Yeah. And I think on a bare minimum, if you can, because get outside for 5 minutes. If you really can't do that, get a light box.
Which, maybe a tad, we'll say expensive, at the outset, but realize it's something you're going to use every day and it'll probably last years. So it'll be way worth and just the effect that it has on you, way worth the investment if, you're, a little shocked by sticker price on some of them. How much is an average one?
Let's see.
I figure that's what you're looking up right now.
No, they're not even crazy, man.
What are they?
Like 10,000 lux, which would basically be like a decent day.
That's like that's not even like a super cloudy day.
On Amazon, $30.
Oh shit, dude! I was expecting 1 to 200.
Portable.
Okay, so actually, this is not even going to break the bank.
No, I mean look.
Hey, do you have how many pumpkin spice lattes that is? That's only like 8 pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah, helps with seasonal depression as well.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Maybe I'll buy one.
Yeah, good to
give an honest review.
Or like cloudy or rainy days. Mm-hmm. If you want to.
If you got the rainy day blues.
And it's funny when you get used to it and there is a pouring rainy day, you're just like, man.
You're like, man, I need it.
And with that, you don't necessarily need to freak out. in reality, what you'd want to do is, if the next day is really sunny, maybe stay out a little longer.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a cumulative type effect deal.
And then you're
going on.
making sure you're setting that schedule, bro.
The cat.
Stop it.
There's a cat. So the picture, someone has a picture for the
cat's just staring at it.
Lux box, and there's like a cat staring at it.
You know what though? Hey, this is anecdotal, but animals like need light too. Was it yesterday? Dude, yesterday Ringo just wanted to go outside, right? And for everyone that doesn't know, we live in a townhouse, so we don't have a backyard, and the dog getting outside is reliant on me walking him or taking him to the dog park or whatever. And so I do that regularly every morning, same time, midday, night. I mean, we have a really good schedule, but clearly he needed to be outside, right? Mm-hmm. He's like wanting to go outside. We get outside, we get across the street, and he just lays down in the grass and just chills in the sun. Like he didn't need to walk, and normally he's super high drive. Mm-hmm. But he 10 to 15 minutes, he laid down in the sun and just did nothing. Whereas normally he'd be like just fiending to go smell around the neighborhood. So I think he truly needed it. And we're all animals at heart. Well, we are animals.
Mm-hmm. But same thing.
And we need that.
And I've read stuff too. It's the same thing for your dogs and their health. Mm-hmm. Technically, they should be getting outside.
The same wake cycle. And they sleep more than we do. But
obviously, cats are different.
Yeah.
They are nocturnal animals. But yeah, so boom, there you go. Light box, $30. So back to, basic bare minimum. Have your light box so you can either get outside, use your light box, cut off caffeine by midday, cut out alcohol, or cut it out 4 hours before your bedtime, and make a cool dark room. I would say those are probably
those are the main ones. The
main ones that anyone can fit in. There's almost no excuse, right? And it's gonna help. So boom, that's like base one, step one. Then you can add in, exercise and some more of the kind of sleep hygiene stuff with, taking a warm shower and, blue light blockers, all that stuff on your screens.
I would say, those are level 2 though. Mm-hmm. Worry about those after you've got the actual schedule itself down.
And some people are probably going to ask, and I'll, just, I guess, share my experience. A lot of people, the blue light blocking sunglasses. So, and Huberman talked about this, and he's the eye specialist. He's actually not a huge fan of them.
The blue lights, yeah.
Because he just says in general, blocking complete,
like a whole spectrum of light.
Spectrum of light isn't ideal. You think kind of like whole food, right, versus processed food. So, and I've noticed personally, then for one, and I'm probably as close to as granola as there can be, and I can set up my day and to optimize and do things, and I still can never get in the habit of wearing the blue light glasses. It just wasn't sustainable for me, even though it sounds you just put them on at night, but
I still find the same thing. Every once in a while I'll put them on, but it's never ever a consistent thing, and I sleep fine.
Yeah, and I never have an issue, right? So I feel like taking care of this other stuff, and I have the blue light blocker on my phone that turns on at 8. I don't look at my computer.
Same
and then
thing.
The TV's nenever really been a problem. I fall asleep hard. I sleep well. We keep not every light on the house is on, but isn't that a song? Every light in the house. It's a country song too.
I don't know it.
That's why you don't know.
Yeah, no clue.
But we kind of keep the lights down. But even then, it's not and I actually say with that, I've noticed. And Precision Nutrition has some sleep articles that talks about this. You actually want to be careful not to make things to where you fall asleep too early all the time.
Fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah, and that starts to mess up your sleep-wake cycle rhythm. And that will happen to me. So if it's the TV room's too dark.
It's Whitney every night.
And too chill, I can fall asleep at 7:30. But then that's gonna mess you up.
But then
right?
you're awake again because you got to go to bed, and are you able to even fall asleep?
Yeah. So I'll make sure actually that we do have lights on and it's somewhat bright. So I don't.
That's a really good point.
Early.
Yeah, if you're farther on the other side, we have a salt lamp, and we don't use it for, I don't know, the energy or ion. Then literally it's just like a nice warm lamp, and I dig it, and you can make it bright or dim. And I like that. Kind of helps me wind down a little bit. So it's still a decent light in the room, but it's not super bright and intrusive. And I don't have any issue with it, but Whitney, she could fall asleep anytime, any day. I think if we turn off all the lights and just have that on,
Yeah.
done. So like that's for her. Like we might need to have a little more light on so that she doesn't just get knocked out.
And really, I think the important thing in the evening at night is just having some kind of routine.
Yes.
Because then the science and nature of a routine is it's thought, it becomes habit, habitual. You don't have to think.
And then you immediately start winding down with this routine.
Exactly. When you start then a routine, it's almost like it calms your body down, shuts your brain down, and then that helps you fall asleep. So really what makes up that routine, it's probably not as much as important as
actually having it,
a routine that's consistent.
Yeah, because you want it to be as mindless as possible, because we all know that you can't will yourself to fall asleep. There's just no way. And I know, like, if you've ever had sleepless nights or struggled with it, when you want to fall asleep the most is probably when you're not going to fall asleep at all. Like that very frustrating feeling you can't make yourself. You've got to be able to wind down, and having a mindless automatic routine is just non-negotiable for that.
And Diego was telling me how his fiance Lauren, she was struggling with falling asleep, and just lays in bed, struggles to actually fall asleep. So they get to bed in time, give themselves that chance. But then, so he had her start going on his morning walks with them real quick. So just 5-10 minutes. Dude, from day one,
done.
She passing out.
It's important.
So setting that circadian rhythm early in the morning, getting that sunlight, and it kind of did the trick. So again, it starts in the morning. You don't have to be perfect. We threw a lot out there, but if you can get that morning sunlight, that's
really step one. I think
movement and exercise, like that's 3 birds with 1 stone, and
it'll make a lot of impact just doing that alone. So don't feel like you have to do 90 things to make your sleep perfect.
Yeah, get off the teas and the melatonin supplements and those things. Those are just crutches, and if anything, I
think they make it worse over time.
And
so
make your own melatonin.
Yeah.
So, boom, that's it.
Sleep, baby.
Start to finish, act practical things, hormonal,
everything.
Yep. The power of some sunlight.
I think I am going to buy a lamp, and I will let everybody know how it goes. More for Whitney than myself, but I'll still see how I feel with it as well. I'll follow up.
Looks like a lot of people get them, and there's good reviews for seasonal depression, and people like this one's so little. Like
that is little. That's nothing.
But you're close.
And actually, that would actually be a good one, because summertime, I'm great, and then 10,000. Wintertime, I do get some seasonal depression. So this would be a good test to, just use it consistently throughout the winter every day to see how that affects me. And I normally get sun anyways, but having that consistent light that I know is there would be a good thing. Yeah. So,
and I kind of like the idea of, so for me, I get up early, 4:30 a lot. So actually the sun's not up and I don't get outside until 6:30 to 7. So that's really 3 hours right there. And again, I don't really have much issue, but it would be interesting to see
if you do it earlier,
of getting it a little bit of that right when you wake.
Now you're going to start falling asleep at 6 p.m.
Yeah, no. 6 to 6.
Oh, man.
12 hours of sleep. But yeah, it looks like there's a bunch of them that are 10,000 lux, around that $30 to $50 price point.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Look at that. That one's kind of cool. There's Whitney would like this, natural full spectrum sunlight therapy reading light. And it's kind of more
over top
a stand or whatever over top.
That's kind of dope.
I think I remember Huberman saying something like that. So that actually makes a bit of a difference.
Having light over top of you like the sun would be?
Yeah.
Oh. Now we're getting into minutia. But, sometimes digging into that's a little fun.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. If you have any more sleep questions, I think we covered most everything. And a lot of the, questions may be on minutia and, things that help with sleep and all of that. But knock down your big rocks first. And then if you have any more questions after that, I think it would be good, follow up with us, ask questions, how do you improve it? Once you have that down, is there anything you can do more to improve it? There's always a way to tweak things for each individual. So feel free to reach out on that.
And then just real quick, reading through. So there's a light called the Very Lux, 10,000 lux, and it does suggest the dose is 30 minutes. So it might Again, that's the other benefit of sunlight is you probably don't have to be out there as long.
Because you get that intensity.
But it says that's the dose of light that's been found to be optimal. So again, if you can only do it for 15,
it's still better than nothing.
Better to trigger biochemical changes in your brain, which are basically getting that full spectrum of light needed to regulate melatonin, which we talked about. And we did not talk much about this. This will be maybe a happy podcast, but the other thing that also goes on is it helps boost serotonin in your brain, which is the happy chemical hormone, right? So that's how you're making your melatonin and your serotonin. And I think, you recognize this when you're 10 years old. You ever notice how you got 4 super cloudy days when you're walking out to your car and it's just, and then you have a sunny day and you're just in a better mood.
You're like, I feel it.
That's literally because of the chemical reaction from the sunlight producing serotonin.
And part of that's probably because it's so essential and your brain wants it wants you to do it, so it makes it feel good.
That's why people like carbs.
Yeah,
too. Carbs
feel good.
Produce serotonin in your brain. So carbs and sunlight, happy.
Just saying that's all we need.
Nah,
just carbs, just sunlight.
You're just outside eating bread.
Oh man!
All right, everyone. That's that.
Until next time.
Hopefully it helps. We'll catch you later.
See ya. As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.